How did you hear about me?
Well, looking at my Facebook,
Okay.
and I've been keeping an eye on Tenerife,
Uh-huh.
and because yours come up, and I followed it, and here we are.
Cool, dude. So what's your name and where you from?
I'm Malcolm Bradford. I was born in Bishop Stortford, but I live in Harlow.
Harlow, okay.
Yeah,
And you, my lady?
Wendy.
Wendy. Welcome, Wendy. So Malcolm's got the story, I believe.
I have.
And he wrote to me and he said, have I got a story for you? So I thought, well, I'd better take a little bit of time and come and have a relaxed interview in a beautiful place. We are in the Villa de Adeje beach in San Eugenio in Costa Adeje in Tenerife. Malcolm, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And when you saw me and you said you've got I was saying I like interviewing people and getting their stories, and you says, have I got a story for you? And knock your socks off?
No, I didn't.
Or words to that effect.
You'll melt your heart.
Melt your heart. Okay, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, when does this story start?
Well, to start with, it starts in 1973.
Okay.
Right. We used to go to Spain every year in 1973 up until 1992.
Uh-huh.
And we liked Spain, mainly Spain this is. And what happened was, in the local paper, there was an advert to take in a student to come over to learn English for 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So Wendy said to me, she said, well, why don't we do it, I thought, well, being we got 2 boys, we'll go for a boy.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, no, we'll go have a girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, oh, yeah, that's different. Okay, we'll go have a girl. So the powers to be who come down to look at the place said, what would you like, boy or girl? So it was agreed we'd have a girl. And they said, well, we'll send you the details, and then when they'll be coming. Well, they sent the details of it, and there was a young girl, her name was Yatha, and she was born in 1977, and she was 13 years old. Well, she came over in 1991. We met her in Harlow. She flew in to Stansted, and we took her back to our place, and she went into where her bedroom was, and she was in love with it, straight away. And then we got to get to know her a little bit more. And what surprised me was she would go up and have a shower, and wash her hair, and I'd be sitting watching television, and she'd come down and she said, would you brush my hair?
All right.
She used to sit
So
on the floor in front of him.
Uh-huh.
So I used to brush her hair, and I thought to myself, well, look, this is, it's just unbelievable. So in any case, in having the girl there, we had to take her out. It was one of the conditions. You take her out weekends and show the sights. So which we did. Well, she was there for 6 weeks, and on the day she was going home, she's sitting down at breakfast. We're sitting opposite, and she said, "My mother said I can come next year." So we said, "Well, where are you staying?" She said, "A key here." I said, "No, yes." So of course, the following year she came over. And we went out this is funny, we went out one Sunday, went to Kentwall Hall in Suffolk, where they do medieval rehearsals and that sort of thing. Yeah. Well, in the actual, there was pigs and all that sort of thing, and there was one pig there called Malcolm. Well, of course, that made her laugh, she thought that was funny. So, and I thought to myself, well, I'm going to get my own back here, So coming back, she fell asleep in the back of the car. Well, our garage was connected to the house. So I got in the garage, left her asleep in the car, and we went indoors. And later on, she come in all blurry-eyed. But she never said no, she was quite funny about it. Well, every 2 or 3 days, her family used to phone up, Well, this time she had a story to tell him, and if you would have heard what she was saying and the way she was saying it, you knew she was really enjoying it. So that was that year. The following year was the same, and then the following year after that, which was the 4th year, she said, before she left, she said, my family would like to meet you. So we said, yeah, all right. So she went over in the July, and we came over here in the August. So
To Tenerife now.
pardon?
To Tenerife.
To Tenerife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we stopped at Port de la Cruz,
Mhm.
and so they come and picked us up, and took us back to where they've got two places they live. In the winter they live in Santa Cruz,
Mhm.
and in the summer they live at La Matanza,
Okay.
right? So they took us to La Matanza. Well, you couldn't credit it. It was unbelievable. The kisses, the hugs, and the crying, and you know, it was just unbelievable. You know, it felt as if you were being crushed to death.
Sure.
You know, because they don't shake hands like we do.
No, no.
It's hugs, kisses, you know, and like from that time, it was just wonderful.
Did her English improve each year, or?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But while we were there at Port de la Cruz, a young boy come up and said, "Would you be interested in buying a timeshare?"
Uh huh.
So he said, "You don't have to." He said, "But if I take you up there, I'll get
Commission.
Commission."
Sure.
So we went up there and we looked at these timeshare, and this particular one that they've offered us was on the second floor, overlooking the pool. So we thought, well, we'll have this. So, because when we told them that we bought a timeshare, they couldn't believe it, So, everything started to improve. And it coincided, funny enough, because it was week 38, 39, and it coincided with Yatha's birthday, which was on the 30th September.
Okay.
And not only was it her birthday, but her sister's birthday was also on the 30th, but she was 5 years younger than Yatha.
Okay, so both the same day, but 5 years difference.
That's right.
Okay.
So, it meant there was going to be a good party.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this happened every year. And
you were there for it.
And we were there for it every time. Well, one particular year, what we thought was Yatha's father wasn't her father. Her mother had married again.
Okay.
And her father was the father of Beatrice,
Mm-hmm.
which we thought was her sister, but it was her sister, but half sister.
My sister.
Well, in any case, this particular year, we were at the party at La Matanza, and as I say, Dina, her mother, and they'd split up. Don't know the reason, but in any case, the phone rang, and Yatha said, "It's my father. He would like to meet you." So I said, "Yes, all right, yeah." I said, "Well, when?" She said, "Now." So I said, "What do you mean now?" She said, "Well, he's outside." So I said, "Well, yeah, the way it was is because he knew me through the years, because it had all been relayed to him.
Right, right.
Well, he had the advantage over me because I didn't know him, but he knew me.
Right.
So when he did come up, he'd come up with his wife, Trilly,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just clicked. It clicked like that. So the following year, well, that time, while we were there, he said, next year, we will go to my place. Now, he's got a place in Santa Cruz. He's also got a place at Tagarante.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Tagarante we were going. So when we got there that year, they had friends and family come over from mainland Spain. There was guitars playing, castanet, all everything, And on the way back, it was her cousin who took us there and brought us back. Her name was Patricia. Now, she's wonderful, wonderful. So she explained to us what it was all about, Well, in any case, these parties were getting bigger. And there was another friend of Yatha called Yatha. And this Yatha had a twin sister called Miriam. I think it was Miriam. But there again, when they met you, they tried to crush you, And I kept looking every time. I looked to see if I was wearing their clothes and they were wearing mine.
Oh, wow.
Well, in any case, it got like that every year. Well, then we had another year. We had another party in Tagarante, and it was a beautiful restaurant. almost on the motorway, you know. Well, I'd got out of the car, Beecher and Dina drove us there, which is Yatha's mother. And as I got out of the car, who should come in was Patricia. So she's saying, Malcolm, and she's got her arm out the window, and I go over, you know, we're kissing and cuddling. And I said to her, could you wait till you park? She said, no, no. So, you know, that's how it went. And for all those years, it was, everybody was meeting up. And then it got to the year 2000 and, 2002. Yatha phoned me up. She said, Mother would like to have a talk to you. So I said, all right. We were staying at Club La Paz, where our apartment was. And we went there and we were having coffee. So she said, Dina said something to Yatha. And Yatha said, my mother said, when you retire, will you come to live in Tenerife?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that was quite a shock, really. But in 2000, we had a granddaughter. So it made, like, I said to him, well, you know, it's, we've got to think of our family, you know. So in any case, that was, well, going on now to 2014, Yatha, well, in the process of those years, Yatha had 2 boyfriends, but now she'd met another one, and this looked serious, right? So in 2014, on the 19th of September, they got married.
Wow,
Right.
today.
Fun?
Today,
Today.
19th of September.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
the
you're
anniversary.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, of course, never thought that. Yeah, so they got married on the 19th of September. Well, on the 28th September, she had a baby boy.
Wow.
Now, I thought it took 9 months.
Oh, yeah,
But
exactly.
obviously in Tenerife, it's short. So,
You got to have it within the holiday period.
that's right. So even her father didn't know. So only her mother and her uncle was at the ceremony, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in. We went out to lunch in Candelaria,
Uh-huh.
and her father. That was her father, her mother, her father, and his wife, and Beatrice, right? Which is her father was Yatha's father. So he phoned up, and we went to La Laguna then to the hospital to see the baby. But unfortunately, there was a little bit of a problem, you know. And this was on the Saturday, and so that was the Saturday the 20th. No, it weren't. It was Saturday the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He was born on the 28th. Well, the next day was their birthday.
Yeah.
So the baby stayed in the hospital, but they all went to La Matanza. So we had this party, you know, and because all the friends were there as well. Well, that was that year. And then in May of 2015, well, just before May, we had a letter to inviting us to a wedding, which was their wedding,
Okay.
right? And they supplied us with a car, and they supplied us with an apartment. And I think it was Medina,
Okay.
see? So, but we refused that because they've been doing enough for us, you know?
Okay.
So we booked 10 days in Puerto de la Cruz. Well, now, Beatrice now was courting with James, who comes from Tarragona in mainland Spain. So they come to pick us up, and they took us to where the wedding was going to be in Guamar, you know. So we had a lovely apartment there in this hotel, and they dropped us there just after lunch. So they went off, and the wedding was going to be at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So give us time to look around. Well, you wouldn't believe it. It was vast. The place was vast. And where we were going to have the wedding, there was rows and rows of seats, you know. And there was a big tented area, and there was an area below ground where the dancing and all the drinks were going to be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to... But any case. So we looked over it, and then, because at 7 o'clock, when the wedding starts, Moses, which was her husband, was down the front, and down come this car, convertible car, classic car, with Yatha in. And then she goes round and her father, and they come down the ready carpet, and her cousin was giving her away, you know. So that was all done, and then after that we all had drinks. Well, of course, because it's going back to how Yatha started with us. Everybody wanted to meet us, and so we're drinking, and someone else comes along, and someone else, you know. Well, then we went into where the reception was going to be, and you had the table with Yatha's family and Moses' family on that table. We had the family table next to it, and they all done their speeches, and then they spoke about us, and that was well, you know, and they started clapping because I obviously couldn't speak Spanish, but I thought to myself sitting there, I thought, well, I think the clapping explains it all, you know. So after that, this is where it gets. After that, we went to this area, and there was a big lower steps, you know, and Moses is down the bottom, and Yatha's up the top, and they played that song from Greece, "You're the One That I Want."
Mm-hmm.
And she come floated down the stairs, you know.
Oh, wow.
And then she started dancing. But then she stopped, and she come over to me. And kissed me, and we danced, you know. And I looked across at her father, and he looked at me and said to say, "This is what it's all about, you know."
Yeah.
And like the next morning, we all met again. It was like family again, you know. And well, it was something else. So then they took us back to Puerto de la Cruz, and then of course her having a baby. Every time we come over then, because she'd been going to nursery, there was all the other children and all the other mothers and fathers and just everybody, you know. And the last count was over 50, you know.
Wow.
And that's how it's been ever since, you know. And I think myself, how lucky we were.
How lucky you are.
Yeah, well, lucky we are, yeah.
Yeah, after all these years.
Yeah.
So from answering an advert about somebody wanting to learn English, you've got such an extended family.
Yeah.
And it did melt my heart.
If it wasn't for me, he wouldn't have done it. It was just I see this advert in the local
Wow.
paper.
But it don't end there, you see, because having the timeshare, we were meeting people who had timeshares as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, although we were meeting Yatha and her family, we had these friends, Val and Baz, Joe and Bob, David and Margaret, who else was
Everyone and Betty.
Rennie
And
Rennie and his mother, Sasha, and then there was John and Jane, and who else was it? Betty and Ron. Unfortunately, Ron died. So, and we all used to meet up at Mavi's bar, which started off with just 3 of us. And it ended up with about 30 or 40 of us. And then in 2010,
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard of John Palmer.
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Well, John Palmer used to own quite a few timeshares.
Okay.
He was involved in the London Brinks
Of
robbery,
course.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the government caught up with him and everything, and they took our timeshares away from us.
Oh, right.
That was in 2010.
Oh, wow.
But because we still wanted to we're still all friends, so we all, most of us went to Mazaru, Hotel Mazaru, and we're still in contact now. You know, it's still
Wow.
still ongoing.
So it's changed your whole life, this one decision.
Yeah.
Well, we just think how lucky we were, you know. Yeah.
But it's great to see that one decision in your life can take you in such a direction that you would never dream then, and you get to meet people that you probably never meet if you didn't travel.
Yeah.
You know, it's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Traveling broadens the mind and widens the family.
Yeah, but it, you know, it just touches your heart. It's
It
unbelievable.
really did.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Don't forget when we had the Asa once, she said, my mother's coming over to meet you.
Yeah, well, I didn't put that in. Well, are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on.
Well,
Yeah,
she
well-
came, didn't she?
Yeah. Well, this is it. She did come over the first year with Orestes, which was her second husband. you
Okay.
know? That's the one that. But Orestes, he was brilliant. He could speak English.
Yeah.
And well, he could speak English. He said to me one day, he said, "I like a Wawa." So I said, "Oh yeah," you know. So because he was into classic cars, so he kept on about this Wawa. So I said, "What's a Wawa?" So he thought about it, and then he said, "A Jaguar." Oh, right. Well, years went past, and I think it was about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, must be. We got in touch because he lives in Santa Cruz, and no, in yeah, it was Santa Cruz, and we went out for lunch.
Uh-huh.
And who should come as well was Laszlo, which was Dina's first husband.
Wow.
So when we were out for lunch, Orestes said to me, he said, "I've got something to show you." So I said, "Oh yeah, what's that?" He said, "Oh, you wait till we get back." So we went back into Puerto de la Cruz, and we pulled up into this underground garage, and you wouldn't believe it. It was just covered with classic cars,
The whole underground garage.
whole underground garage.
Wow.
Yeah, there was, you name it, it was there. And he was going, funny enough, he was going the next week to Wales because there was an XJ120
Uh-huh.
that he was going to bring back to
All right, he's going to go over and then drive it back.
drive back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we spoke about him yesterday, funny enough.
Cool.
So,
I was saying about Yasa's mum when she came over to see us, and she
oh
knocked
yeah,
at the
when
door.
Yatha's mother come over, they stood at the front door, and we said, "Come in." She said, "No." She said, "Yatha's happy,
We're happy. Yeah.
Very good.
But the nice thing about when Yatha had come over, as soon as she come in the front door, she went straight to her room.
Mm-hmm.
She was home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it must also have changed her life as well.
Well, this is where it really has all started because, from what we know, she suffered when the mother and father split up, and I think she was getting a bit wayward, Plus she was getting a bit depressed.
Yeah.
But after coming with us over us for the first year, and the reaction we got from her family when we first met them, said it all,
Yeah.
And that was
A long time
brilliant.
ago.
really brilliant.
Cool. When you contacted me and said you had a story, I didn't realise it was going to be like this. I thought you were going to talk about boxers and stuff to do with Tenerife and stuff, And I mean, I know it is to do with Tenerife, but I thought you were going to tell stories about your holidays and stuff. And this is a fantastic personal story, and I'd like to thank you both for telling us. And I hope that when I get back and cut it all together, that you'll like the result.
We can't say everything, but I picked out the ones
That I think the people will be really interested in that, and I think it's nice for you guys to offer to do that, and now offer to share it with the world.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a story that's worth telling.
Good.
It
Thank you.
was lovely when her mother came over, wasn't it? As I said, I've already said it. About when she knocked at the door and we hadn't seen her. She said she's Dina, Yasa's mother. So I said, "Come in." I told you. She said, "No." She said, "That's all right. Yasa's happy, we're happy."
If Jesus happy,
Yeah, but
we're
she
happy.
didn't come. They come all the way over, but she didn't come.
They didn't come in the house. Cool dudes. Cool dudes.